apologize, y'all. I had a phone call there, so we'll get back into it. We're in the second half, over halfway through the third quarter. Big relief pair. Or big game right there. I don't know why I said pair. That's kind of bad wording right there. Daniel Jones has got that ball in the big play, the passing play to Saquon Barkley on the play before. For second and 6, second and 7, expect the Giants to tie the game up right here. We're seeing the momentum. We're seeing the pieces. And I know it's not going to be like all flashes in the first game with not necessarily having to practice and all this other stuff. It is little by little, they get better, they play better, and we're going to see the better production of the New York Giants. I'm excited for them this year. It's about time they get a little bit excited about something. Again, I apologize. We were on the live video right here, but I had a phone call, so again, family, all that does come first, but we're back in it now in the second half of the Steelers and the Giants game. So I apologize. It's like 3 videos, but it was meant to be 2. You got 2 more coming for the Giants and Titans game. I am concerned, though, with how potentially piss poor our offensive line can be with how the potential of Jadeveon Clowney. That's going to be a big concern in this game. Is Drew Lock going to play well? I hope he does, but I don't know. Daniel Jones in the second half so far on third down is 6 for 7, 67 yards, and 3 first downs right there. I'm not saying that they have a chance to win a division, Steven. I mean, look at it here, and I'll mute this game right here. With the amount of injuries that the Philadelphia Eagles have, 2 to 3 offensive linemen out, and on the defensive side of the ball, and on top of that, you remember Alshon Jeffrey signed that big deal to be Carson Wentz's #1 receiver and #1 receiving option. They haven't started an all 16-game season. I believe they have a chance, but they have to take advantage of all the injuries with the Eagles. And on top of that, Cowboys have a ton of injuries. We don't see any season-ending injuries for the Giants. So with all the injuries with the Cowboys and the Eagles, the Giants have to take advantage of that this year. Just because I say they have a chance to win the NFC East, will they? I think they have a good chance to do it, if not get the extra wildcard spot. With having limited injuries and your other divisional opponents having a ton of injuries, the Giants have a chance to win a division or at least get the extra wildcard spot. How are the Cowboys going to take the division? The Cowboys scored 3 points in the second half. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. This is what drives me nuts. Amari Cooper has a talent, but he's not consistent. And on top of that, okay, you want to hear robbed by the Rams. I 100% disagree, and this is what drives me nuts. What about the play against Jared Goff about a couple of drives before that, when it was clearly a penalty, and the refs admitted they missed that play? So to say, I understand that was definitely not a foul from Jalen Ramsey. That wasn't a foul at all. We can agree on that. But to say that that's the only thing that robbed the Cowboys of the game, no. See some of the throws that Dak Prescott made. I say throws attempted that were underthrown or overthrown were terrible. That is on him. I understand what he's dealing with off the field. That's more important than football. I get that. But on the field, just that individual play cost him the whole game. No. When he scored 3 points in the second half, that is despicable. And even on top of that, okay, first of all, the Rams, they're not making the playoffs. So let's not act like this is a team. This is not the 2002, 2003 Bucks. It shows that they are much more capable than the Giants and the Redskins. No, again, the Redskins aren't going to do much in terms of a record, but they're improving. Dwayne Haskins is not playing elite at all, but he's improving slowly but surely as a quarterback, and that's what they need going forward. With Ron Rivera coaching and dealing with his health issues, they play better. They're going to be a defensive type team this year, obviously, with the guys that they have on defense. I don't even know who the running back is here. You can say, oh, they almost won. Well, Jared Goff, though. Oh my gosh, sorry, that Daniel Jones play right there. They were trying to score and throw it into the end zone, and he picked it off. Again, Daniel Jones, 2 picks. I believe that the Steelers are going to win this game. When you have that many turnovers before the fourth quarter, it's over. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. I don't want to be 8-6 in these picks in the week 1. But to say that the Cowboys almost won, which is true, but again, in the second half, some of the throws that Dak Prescott made are unexcusable. I hope you're not comparing the Cowboys to the Giants, when the Cowboys arguably have the best offensive line in the NFC East. and they still can't take advantage of that. I don't want to hear certain injuries about the offensive line players. Russell Wilson can do it. You're darn well sure that Dak Prescott can do it. When you have Ezekiel Elliott doing what he's doing, there are no excuses. You have the amount of weapons. Take away Blake Jarwin, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. What's another receiver you have on that team too? So 4 to 5, almost 6 players already. Not even counting Blake Jarwin. You should have scored more than 3 points in the second half. I am losing, and I was wrong. And again, I'll always say this argument though: their offensive line has been piss poor. The offensive line is important for both teams. The one thing that Steelers have done well, out of other things we could talk about, is they're stopping Saquon Barkley. If you look at the numbers right now for Saquon Barkley's averages in this first game, he doesn't even have 1 yard to carry. And on top of that, he's that type of running back that can have 15 carries or 15 attempts for 13 yards and then bust one out for 70, 80 yards. But at that point, that's not going to happen. I was wrong about this game. I am going to be 8-6. And I may be 8-7. I am concerned, though, because, again, Jerry Jeudy can be a great receiver, but he hasn't played in the NFL yet. Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon, if they can be consistent and healthy and have that matchup with Jerry Jeudy, I think that could be very interesting. But if Jadeveon Clowney is fully healthy, that's going to be scary when we don't have much of an offensive line at all. Steven, I don't know if I caught that. Who is your actual current NFL team? I don't know if I got that at all. I know some people said Kent Cousins. I was hesitant. Hey, Ryan, I know we're not... I think we're Facebook friends, but Kent Cousins, did he play yesterday? I'm not really too sure. It looked like I was playing quarterback. Vegas can have a lot of great predictions. I have not been great on my predictions in this first week. Some predictions I made great. On top of this, you look at the Colts, and they signed Philip Rivers to a $23+ million deal. And people were questioning, is Philip Rivers part of the problem with the Chargers in San Diego and in LA? Is it the offensive line? But if you look at the offensive linemen that the Colts have, he threw a key interception in the fourth quarter. So that shows you he was one of the main problems. He looked pretty great out there. But I don't want to hear the defense does have to play better. Yes. But I don't want to hear, like, Kirk Cousins has to be this type of thing where, the defense has to be top 5, top 10 to get it done. I don't want to hear it. And if they didn't pay him as much money as they did, I wouldn't give him as much flack. But some people think that, or I think now that you pay this quarterback that amount of money, he has to produce. But on the negative side of that, when you pay the quarterback that much money, it is hard to get other players. Because then you see the amount of cap they have is not very good. You lost Everson Griffin. I believe it's Everson Griffin in free agency. I may be 100% wrong on that. When you pay a quarterback that much money, it's going to hurt your team going forward. Signing him in free agency was a mistake. They should have just drafted a quarterback, and then Teddy Bridgewater could sit behind. And maybe this could be a whole different story with the Panthers. Who knows what the Panthers quarterback would have been. It could have been Trevor Lawrence next year. Again, that's not going to happen. Kent Cousins can't play defense, blocking and running the ball. Dalvin Cook, come on. He's getting paid less than Jared Goff, Jimmy G, and Dak Prescott. Well, Dak Prescott's on the traditional franchise tag. It's not really guaranteed. All these other guys are on long-term contracts. But the good thing, here's the thing. The good thing about Jimmy Garoppolo's contract is the San Francisco 49ers can release him. They would have little to no damage against the cap. The Rams released Jared Goff. They have so much more in dead money while still having to pay Todd Gurley, while still having that money against Brandon Cooks, repaying Cooper Kupp for a 3-year deal, which I don't disagree with it, but with how little of a cap they have less than $1 million. And on top of that, you're having contract negotiations this week with Robert Woods. 3 straight years, the past 3 years with 1,000 yards. But the problem is, with that much dead cap, where are you finding this money? This doesn't just come out of your ear or out of your butt. That's just not how it works. I agree that's how the market is, but that's just frustrating, though, because Dak Prescott is worth a certain amount of money. But based on how he played yesterday, He don't deserve anywhere near $40 million. Steven, what do you think? What do you think is the minimum to the highest Dak Prescott can get? And I think he's going to get paid, though, by Jerry Jones and get the money that he wants. And here's the thing, is that when Jerry Jones is set on the player, no matter how good or how bad or ineffective or how effective they've been, he's going to pay him. When he's set on the player, he is set on the player here. Let's go to back to the Steelers and Giants game. Oh, my gosh, it's near the end of the third quarter here. Again, the market can change that. But if that is the case, then Alvin Kamara should have been the highest paid running back based on how the market is, based on how much Christian McCaffrey got paid right there. Right, I don't know. Or Steven, you probably already answered this. Who is your current NFL? Oh, you said the Vikings. Okay. Vikings this year, even if they have the defense, 35, 45, he's not going to get near 45. Because if that's the case, then other quarterbacks now or next year or the year after with their contract, they're going to get even more money. You see the market, but Patrick Mahomes' contract doesn't go into effect. Let me pause it real quick. Big Ben on the play. First down. Can he get the ball? He is pressured by Williams and all those guys. Sack, second and long. Patrick Mahomes' contract does not go in effect to the start of the 2022 season. He still has his fourth year of his rookie contract and his fifth-year option next year. So for the next 2 years, technically he's not the highest paid quarterback until the start of the 2022 season. Just because they paid him does not mean it voids out the fourth year of his contract and the fifth-year option. The Vikings in the night. I wouldn't say the Vikings have taken 2 years off before. I don't think the 49ers are going to take the year off. There's the biggest thing out of many things I saw for the San Francisco 49ers is their running attack game was awful. Where's Laquan Alexander? Where was Bosa? Where was all these other guys? Kyler Murray almost had 100 yards rushing. Kyler Murray had a 1 rushing TD. Kyler Murray had 11-plus attempts. Kyler Murray was the Cardinals' leading rusher in that game. And they don't have a good offensive line on top of that. So he played phenomenal in that game. Speaking of the NFC, Michael Thomas is injured. How do y'all expect moving forward? How is that injury going to affect Drew Brees? I'll admit, I don't know if Steve, you saw my opinions earlier. I was watching the Tampa Bay game. And that was the worst game of Tom Brady's career. Obviously, if you would say Tom Brady fell off the cliff, to a certain extent, you can definitely give that some respect. Coaching was terrible, but I will say, though, to a certain extent, it was a lot of Tom Brady's fault. If you look at the second half, Tom Brady threw a pick six. You realize they got to fit. Okay, great. But you pay the quarterback that much money, he has to produce. It's not that you pay the quarterback this much money. Like, for example, if you get a promotion at your job, even if you aren't the best, because they believed in you, you think, oh, he's going to produce because we paid him this amount of money. You can't take that money back. You release Kirk Cousins, they have so much in dead money, it's not even worth releasing him. I'm not saying week one, but I'm based off of the last couple years and Kirk Cousins' whole career in the NFL and at Michigan State. The Vikings are not making the playoffs. The Packers are going to win the division. Obviously, Detroit there's always a ton of questions there. Your starting quarterback drafted out of Ohio State with the second and third overall pick missed week one, so I'm not sure moving forward how his health is going to be the rest of the year. Obviously, they signed Peterson, but that's not going to make him a contender in that division. Yes, it is week one, but habits form. Kent Cousins is not a good quarterback. He's an above-average Phillip Rivers, or vice versa. If the Saints, to a certain extent, I do fault Brady. I didn't say full fault, but to a certain extent, I can fault him with some of the throws he made in that pick six to Janoris Jenkins to start the second half. That was on him. What I will say, though, a little bit on coaching, Mike Evans, to start the second half, had 2 to 3 targets at most. I know you got to evenly distribute the football, because not each receiver, when you have 45 to 6 offensive weapons, can have 10 attempts for 112 yards and 2 TDs. That's not realistic when you have that many offensive weapons. If the Saints are one of the best teams in the NFC, what have they done? Drew Brees is obviously a Hall of Famer. Nobody's debating that. If you want to talk about the past, we can talk about the past. 4-6 in the playoffs. The one thing I will disrespect on Drew Brees is when your team was down, even before the 2016-2017 draft, when he got all of those players. He couldn't put the team on his back when it mattered. Now look into 2020. They have a very good team. He's learning a new offense and open up against best teams. They do great in the regular season, but then when they get to the playoffs, they choke. I don't know why people tend to avoid that. Just because you're good on paper doesn't mean he executes on the field. Look at the Browns. Again, two different teams. Obviously, the Saints are 1,000 times better. I'm not comparing the teams. But the Saints do well in the regular season. Then when it comes to the playoffs, they choke right here. Giants lose this game. 36-yard attempt by the Pittsburgh Steelers. 14-19 left in the game. It is 19-10. We'll see what they can do. To say that they're the best team in the NFC is a little bit overreaction. Again, it's week 1. Like you say, I agree. It's moving forward, a lot of things can change. A lot of things can be different. But to say right now they're the best team in the NFC, I don't know. That's hard to really say after week 1. We'll have to see moving forward. But in terms of week 1, I think the Packers, in terms of week 1, the Packers are the best team in the NFC. Right now, at least for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 16 and 17 moving forward, that is obviously going to change. So you can't be surprised the Bucs lost. I'm not surprised. I was surprised to a certain extent certain receivers did not get involved as much as they did. Tom Brady had that good touchdown pass, I believe, near the end of the second half, or the first half going to the third or fourth quarter, to O.J. Howard for the touchdown to make it a 6, 7, 8-point game. All around, though, despite me being high on the Bucs, some of their defensive guys are what they don't have as a concern. Their passing attack defense. They don't have any corners. I'm not even sure if they have safety. I know they got Lavonte David, Shaquille Barrett, Vita Vea, what's his name, from the Giants that had that firecracker issue years ago right there. So many players. But they still don't have the passing attack. That's going to be a problem when you play the Saints again with the team that they have. Janoris Jenkins, Lattimore, all those other players. I'm not sure if they can beat the Saints again this season. Does that mean that they're going to... I think they are going to win the division, but it's going to be a competition between them and the Saints. I don't give the Falcons any credit. Matt Ryan has not been able to put the team on his back. Matt Ryan has put up the passing yard numbers, but cannot get it done. Matt Ryan is an overrated quarterback. I don't see how Matt Ryan can actually make the... They're better than the Bucs. I mean, how so? It's only been week 1. I don't see how... Well, of course, they're a better team right now because they won week 1. But in terms of long-term for the rest of the season and after week 17, that's probably going to be a different story. Because like I said, with that many teams in the NFC competing, the Vikings can compete against the Cardinals, maybe the 49ers, Seattle. I know it's just week 1 and they played the Falcons. I don't expect Seattle to do that every single week. But they're a good team too. Their offensive line is still a question. Other teams that are also in the NFC with the Packers. Obviously not the Lions. Most likely not even Chicago either, because we don't know. Mitchell Trubisky started week 1. Is he going to start moving forward? I mean, it would be funny if they did just to get his hopes up, but he's not a good quarterback. Going back to the Steelers and the Giants game, anybody, Steven, whoever is watching this right now, who do y'all think? Steelers kicked the ball out of bounds. At this point, I don't see why that really meant. Seattle, okay. I don't see the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is 100% proving as a pocket. Let me mute this because the audio wouldn't be what I'm saying. Seattle is winning the Super Bowl. I think they have a chance for it, but it is week 1. They also don't have the offensive line, but the running attack is going to be better this year. I hope Chris Carson continues to improve. Chris Carson played well in this game. I hope he doesn't do at all what he did in 2019, which is fumble the 6th ball 7 times and be out for multiple games at a time. I don't see... Lamar Jackson is 100% proving as a pocket passer. Again, it's just game 1, but he has played great so far. My question moving forward, though, is when they play the Steelers, are they going to do anything close to what they did to the Browns? Maybe not as much because the Cleveland Browns are a terrible team. If the Cleveland Browns continue to do what they do, they'll have a 4-12 and a 5-11 season, and Baker Mayfield will have to potentially put his name on the back of Browns jerseys of failed Browns NFL quarterbacks. It is unfortunate. I think he can. LeBron. Okay. Let me read you your comment. Lamar Jackson may be the Giannis of the NFL. Potentially. I mean, that's definitely could be a good point right there, but team defense matters more in the NFL and the NBA. That would help Lamar. Again, their defense, I agree, their defense is going to have to step up. I'm hoping the defense does not do what they did last year. The first 3 to 4 games, they weren't that great, but then they picked it up and played well for the rest of the season. I think they're definitely going to beat the Steelers, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout of like a 45-10 type of thing. I don't think so. I think the Ravens are going to win by 10-plus points. I'm not sure what week they do play the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think it is a good. Ravens are going to win the division. I picked him to win the division by 3 to 4 more games than the Browns, but they're going to even win even more games than that against the Browns based on how poorly Browns played in Week 1. I know it's Week 1, but the Cleveland Browns in the first game, OBJ had key passes thrown to him that he could not catch. You also had on the offense drive, I think it was in the second half, flag after flag, all offensive penalties back to back, and that is a killer. Keep talking about how the Vikings. Okay, say Sam Darnold is a bust. Let me ask you this: is that his fault? Let me mute this. You want to talk about an offensive line? Sam Darnold has not had that. I'm not saying that he would have been a Hall of Famer if he'd been on a different team. Kirk Cousins has had a better team than literally almost any of those guys besides potentially Baker Mayfield. Maybe. Sam Darnold has not had the team around him. Who's his receiver this year? It is Rashad Perriman. You let Robert Anderson go, not necessarily a top 10 receiver, but can get the job done. Don't have to pay him as much. You have Adam Gase as head coach, who, in my opinion, is a terrible, I can't stress enough, terrible head coach. You don't put the offensive line around him. You don't put the weapons in terms of receiver, tight end, or running back. Getting Le'Veon Bell in free agency was a terrible decision when he took a season out by not getting de-adjusted by getting hit by 300-plus offensive linemen. How was it his fault? Who are his weapons, Steven? Like, if we're going to be consistent about arguments, quarterback has to have the weapons around him. We talk about that with Cousins or other players. Does he have the weapons around him right now to throw to? No. He hasn't had the receivers or the offensive line. Like, I don't care how good he beat the Cowboys. I know we're talking about last year, but we've seen individual games where he can play well. Obviously, there's a certain extent the quarterback does get some blame because he's the quarterback. There's some throws he's made that aren't great. Yes. But he hasn't had the offensive line or the receiving weapons or a decent-sized running back. So how can we blame most of that on him? Blame some of that on the Jets. Jamison Crowder? No, he's not. Look at his numbers. He's not always consistently healthy. He's not the best route runner, and he's not a good receiver. Compared to the AFC East, where the Patriots have a young N'Keal Harry that has potential. You also have Julian Edelman. Washington, he had Deshaun Jackson. He also had another running back there, and he had Jordan Reed and potentially Vernon Davis. So he had the weapons and the offensive line with Brandon Sheriff and Trent Williams. So he had the weapons there. I don't want to hear that. But in terms of you want to talk about offense or defensive weapons, Sam Darnold has had less weapons with New York Jets than Kirk Cousins had with Washington. Name one decent-sized or good offensive player for the Jets. I can't. I'm not saying that he would have been great. Out of all those guys, Josh Allen is a good quarterback. I think his mobility and not being afraid to get hit is some of his biggest assets. Got Stephon Diggs. Look what he did last year with John Brown and Cole Beasley. Kirk Cousins in that situation, they don't go to the playoffs with John Brown and Cole Beasley. Because you keep criticizing about how Kirk Cousins doesn't have the weapons. Sam Darnold does not have the weapons. I mean, do the New York Jets put their quarterbacks in the foot to succeed? And frankly, the answer is no. You don't need a top 3 tight end. But who do they have? Return to a certain extent is not necessarily easy, But the Jets have never successfully drafted a QB in a long time. Even back then, the Jets beat the Patriots in the playoffs. They had a good defense, but sooner over time, the Mark Sanchez's interceptions and turnovers cost them long term, and you see these defensive guys go each individual direction. Ryan Fitzpatrick had a one rare season that was a fluke back in 2015-2016, where they went 10-6 and barely missed the playoffs, going 10-5 with Brandon Marshall, Chris Ivory, and Matt Forte, and some of the Leonard Williams, I believe, and other defensive players they had on the defensive side of the ball. The Jets are, I believe, the Knicks of the NFL. It is frustrating. Even back then, when they hired Adam Gase, was that a good idea? Probably not. Imagine me telling me that Adam Gase would have been good. Like, what's up, Charles? How's it going, my man? If you have a football team or any football questions like Steven is doing, Steven is a great guy, has a good show called the M1, I believe it's called the M116 Network. I can put that in a link below after the live video so y'all can check that out. But the Jets, all McPhail was hiring Adam Gase and signing Le'Veon Bell. That was already the downfall. They also drafted Geno Smith years and years before. How did that work? They also had that incident, that fight where some guy punched Geno Smith in the mouth. Or in the mouth or the jaw. The Jets, and it's not easy to draft a quarterback, but it's not just about drafting a guy that's the flashiest. Sam Darnold, why he did win games in college, okay, I apologize. I'll put the link to that in the description, in the comment section below after the video, because I'm not sure if I can figure out how to do that just yet on the current live video. But go check them out, Steven. They have great videos. I believe what days, let me know what days below that y'all record so I can put that in the comment section below. Steven, they're doing great things over there. But going back, the Jets in a long time have not successfully drafted a quarterback. But also, the guys you hire for your coach is part of the problem, too. Sam Darnold hasn't had the weapons. Let's look even past that. What have they done in free agency in 2018 or 2019 or this past offseason in 2020 to actually make themselves a team? You can say, oh, all these other things. No. Buffalo's going to win a division, but based on how New England played in Week 1, it's going to be a little bit harder for Buffalo to do that. Cam Newton did look really well. 15 rushing attempts. 2 TDs right there. 60-plus rushing yards with almost 100 yards passing. Looked like a fun offense. Very good things over there. Going to the Steelers and Giants game. It is 9 every weekday. Okay, perfect. So let them know, and I'll put this in the comment section below after the video. So I'm going to put the link to y'all's Facebook page for all of the podcasts and the live videos so people can obviously go check that out. I'm a little bit surprised of how bad Saquon Barkley has played. Usually, after a certain amount of time in a game, he can get it done. One of the announcers here said something really stupid. He said, when it's all said and done, Saquon Barkley is going to be one of the best running backs. That is the dumbest statement I have heard all night. Where's that? I mean, I understand it's just week 1. But if he even plays half of that moving forward, the Giants are going to struggle tremendously this season on top of their offensive line not doing well. Just because I said the Giants potentially have a chance to get the extra wildcard spot, I haven't denied at all that their offensive line has been a big concern for this team. I don't know what's really going to happen there, so we'll just have to find out. 8:03 left in the game. Steelers win this game. It's that simple. Birthday man, I also put that in the comment section below so people can also check it out both ways. They've been around for a while, so they're doing some good things. I've had some pretty good guests on the show too. You have a thing called like No BS and a couple other, I forgot what you call it, like Fan Thursday. I apologize if I got the name wrong. But they have some good topics or good names for some of the shows. They've been around for a while, so they know what they're doing over there. See, the running game for the Steelers has been much better than the New York Giants. What I am concerned, though, is I'm probably going to finish game here in a minute to get ready for the Broncos and Titans game, is Big Ben so far looks pretty decently healthy. That's what I was concerned about going in this game. Him being 38 years old. Potentially, this is his last year with the Steelers. Where Steven or anybody is watching. Do you think... Fan response. Again, I apologize. That's the thing I believe we've done on Tuesdays or Thursdays. I probably keep getting that wrong. I will put it in the comment section below when I'm done with the live video because they're doing great things over there. They're just teaching they know what they're doing. I don't talk about something if I don't believe in it. It's that simple. I'm brutally honest. If I said they were garbage, they're garbage. But they're not. They're doing great things over there. And they have a lot of good guys. Ryan, as much as we dog on him, he definitely has knowledge about football. We're going to the Titans and Broncos game because I'm going to finish this game right here because it's just ridiculous at this point how the Giants are unproductive. Actually, let's talk about the Giants, though. When the Giants lose this game, who's going to get most of the blame, or how is it going to be equaled out? It's Jason Garrett's poor offensive play. I believe Jason Garrett is going to get more blame than potentially he deserves because people dogged on him in Dallas to a certain extent that I could agree with. That he's going to get some blame. Oh my gosh, the offense didn't play well. That's Jason Garrett's fault, 100%. But the defense on big plays didn't get it done too. Joe Judge in his first game played like garbage. Absolutely unacceptable. If anybody has any football questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Yeah, 2 more episodes after this game, going to the first and second half of the Denver Broncos and Tennessee Titans football game. It is, what's the time right now, y'all? It's about 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to finish the video right here and get ready for the second game. For anybody that is watching or plays fantasy football, does anybody have Saquon Barkley in their starting lineup tonight? And if you do, I apologize. I haven't checked his numbers, but they were as good as Baker Mayfield was in the second half of the game yesterday. Keyword, it was terrible. Moving forward, though, that Bengals game yesterday versus the Chargers, Joe Burrow thought he had that touchdown right there to A.J. Green to make it 19-13. Was that fair? Was that a touchdown? Was that a penalty? I don't think it was. I think that should have been a touchdown right there. Chargers moving forward, though. Tyrod Taylor is probably going to start through week 5, week 6. Then he's going to get injured. Then he's not going to play as well. And then you will have Justin Herbert come in. I try not to be too bad on players, but Tyrod Taylor is not going to win you with his arm. Even in Buffalo, he didn't throw for the most touchdowns. Didn't throw a lot of picks, but wasn't going to keep you in true contention. That was one of the biggest criticisms for me with Tyrod Taylor. After this year, is he potentially out of the NFL? I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but he's not necessarily a quarterback that's going to wow you. He's like a less talented Kirk Cousins. But throws less picks, but isn't effective as a quarterback. 1st and 10 here. 7 minutes left in the game. Let's see what the Steelers can do to pretty much ice the game right here. If they score a field goal, it's over. If they score a touchdown, it's over. And somehow, if even they miss the field goal, or don't score a touchdown, or don't convert on this drive to make it 1st and goal and get into the red zone, they're still winning this game. The clock is down. It's less than 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game. Don't expect something magical to happen like it has in past years in the NFL. That's also, you can say, that's why I love football, because things can happen on the fly that we don't generally know about. But this is That One Dude 2020. Have a good one. We were coming in the Titans and Broncos game coming here in about 20 to 30 minutes. Thank y'all for watching. In the comment section below, I will put the network that we were talking about. Stay safe and God bless.